blockchain is a tool that will change the future. Blockchain has lots of implications in the real world. You can use it to make banks transparent. It has many use cases in the government and other fields. Blockchain is the thing. Highly probably cryptocurrencies will be forgotten, but blockchain is the creator of new order. Those are buzzwords that you can hear on many conferences related to blockchain, and even politicians use these words to make cryptocurrencies a little bit behind the scene and put the blockchain in front to make them visible as those innovative politicians. Martin Habovštiak is here to uh, smash these buzzwords off and end up with misleading information like this. And he came from Bratislava to have a talk about this misleading information, namely about blockchain and Bitcoin. Martin is one of co-founders of Bratislavian Parallel Polis. He's a very hardcore thinking crypto anarchist. I admire his talks a lot, and I think he always has something to say. So I'm really looking forward for a talk. So please welcome Martin Habovštiak on stage, and now you got the board.
Thank you very much. What an awesome place here, right? I love it here, the atmosphere, the great minds, great ideas, and everything else. Who loves it too? Great, that's great. So if you love it here and you want to, for example, try something similar somewhere else or whatever, then as you probably already heard, we are creating Paralelná Polis in Bratislava. You notice the letter is different because it's in Slovak language, and it will be basically a sister of Paralelní Polis in Prague. And you can come there and share ideas, participate at events, and so on. This is how it was designed by our great architect, which is anarchist as well. And actually, these designs is very similar to the reality right now. Unfortunately, I don't have a photo of this in reality, but if I had to play, like, find 5 differences, I probably wouldn't be able to find 5 significant differences. This is how it looks like from the top of this platform. We call it the moon because, you know, to the moon. So this is how it looks like. We already had some events. It's still in constructions, which you can see here. So we hopefully we will have it all cleaned and prepared when we open. I'm not sure if opening date is public right now. I think there is no harm in saying that we plan it at 26th October. So come and share this event with us. So first, before I speak, I need to explain some things. This is sometimes used as a joke, and sometimes it's used as an advice, because so don't assume people are harmful. Don't assume that people want to do something bad to you. Unfortunately, when you want to secure yourself, you have to assume everyone wants to attack you, because if you don't, you will underestimate the attackers and you will get attacked. But actually, I think they are not really like self or contradictory, because you can use the first idea when talking to people. You simply don't say to the person that, hey, you are attacker, you are attacking me, but in your mind you can think, okay, but maybe he's not, maybe he does attack me, but I will simply think about whether it's possible that he's attacking me, and how to prevent it, but without, like, creating conflicts and so on. And my talk will be a lot about security, not about communication between people. So I will probably say about some people that they are attackers, and they maybe are not. But it's sometimes impossible to say. So mm, it's not nothing personal. Maybe some such people sit here. Who knows? So don't take it personally. I'm just trying to be safe and help others to be safe as well. So this is the narrative that Bitcoin is useless, or a cheat or a scam or whatever. There are many words that are in this place, and there is this narrative that blockchain is nice, a revolution, and you already heard. And I believe this is not right. And this sentence is composed of two parts: Bitcoin is useless, and blockchain is nice. And I believe that both of them are false. So I will try to explain why I believe so, and think about possible implications. This is inflation chart of Venezuela. Uh, this is really interesting. It means that during last years, and it's missing 3 more years. I think it would go to the moon. So, so this is a real problem where Venezuelans are losing their purchasing power because government prints a ton of money, and they already have problems like even transporting that huge pile of money. So that's really crazy, and so it creates problems where some Venezuelans are even unable to live. So they have to use some tool to defend against inflation to even live. And Bitcoin is a tool that can help with this, because it can be arbitrarily inflated. It has 21 million supply, and this is unchangeable. We can divide the decimal places, but we will never change the supply. So it's impossible to inflate. This is from Washington Post. A 60-year-old put his life savings on carry on, and U.S. Custom took it without charging him a crime. So I don't know how this ended up, this story, but if I had to guess, I would say that he will never get his money back. And this is really sad, that a government can just take your stuff and do whatever they want, or the government officials, or whoever is associated with the government. So they can take your stuff and just make you poor. And the Bitcoin is again a tool that can help with this, because if you buy Bitcoin, you can memorize the 24 English words in your head, and nobody ever will know that you have memorized 24 English words in your head. So basically, they can't know that there is something to take. And even if you like publicly say something about, like, oh yeah, I bought some Bitcoin or whatever, there is also possibility that you have lost it or whatever. And also it's possible to remember 48 words and tell them some 24 words that contain like $5 or whatever. So it's possible to defend against these attacks. Uh, this is really funny because this guy wrote an article why Bitcoin is stupid, and then he's crying that bank froze his account which contained this amount of cash. So of course Bitcoiners made fun of him, and rightly so, because you know, if someone writes an article saying why Bitcoin is stupid and then cries because the exact use case that Bitcoin can solve for him, then there is probably something wrong. And for the record, he later got his money back, but there are people that didn't get the money back, and people with frozen accounts, and so on and so on. So this is again a problem that Bitcoin solves. Another problem is when WikiLeaks was, you know, leaking stuff and crimes of government and whatever. And some companies didn't like it. They probably feared that the government will shut them down for allowing WikiLeaks to be funded by donations. So they froze the accounts of WikiLeaks. And again, Bitcoin solves this problem because it can be transferred without any third-party approval, so there is nobody that can steal your funds. And maybe you think that you know, but government is needed here in society, and it needs to organize us, or it's righteous to submit to government, or whatever thing. But think about it. If people are paying about $85,000 per each 10 minutes for defending against government, then maybe government isn't as great as we think. And this is the approximate cost of mining Bitcoin. So really, if those people that use Bitcoin, they are essentially paying $85,000 each minute, which is above 4 billion per year. So if they are doing it, then probably government isn't as great as many people think. Now let's look about this claim that blockchain is nice. First, blockchain is a really unfortunate word because many people perceive it differently. Some people think about proof of work, some people think about hashes, and so on, and it's confusing. So for clarity, I will use completely different terms for these things. First, hash graph. Hash graph is any graph of hash data. So basically, we have some data that is hashed, and the hash of this data is included in other data, and it is hashed and included here, and over and over and over. Alternatively, we can make multiple branches, and so on. Basically, any such structure is considered hash graph. One of the most popular, maybe even the most popular, I wouldn't be afraid to bet on this, is Git. Git is a so-called version control system that is used by many programmers to organize their work, synchronize between them, and you know, like publish their work, and so on. And it uses hash graph. It even has it in its logo, you know, here, 1, 2, 3 hashes connected with lines. So Git is the most popular software, and it was invented in 2005, which is like 3-4 years before Bitcoin was invented. So it's really ridiculous that some people, when they say blockchain, they mean actual hash graph, and they say it will revolutionize the world. And even more funny thing is that when they say it's young technology, I don't know about you, but I think that if anything was created in 2005 and now it's 2018, I wouldn't call it new technology. it has 13 years. It is 13 years old. So this is really, really funny that some people do this. Uh, and so you can see that it's not something new, and maybe it could revolutionize some things, but you know where they have been past 13 years. It was available for 13 years, and suddenly they are like, yeah, this is a revolution. I don't know. Uh, Actually, I know only single person that uses the term blockchain and means hash graph, and consistently calls Git also a blockchain, because if I raise this point to some people that then Git is blockchain too, and they make up some stupid excuses why it's not true, which is really ridiculous. And there is only one person ever that said, yeah, okay, Git is blockchain too, and this is this guy, because he is quite smart, so it's less probable that he would be inconsistent. So he's at this conference, so take the opportunity of meeting him. His name is Peter Todd. Then we have proof of work chain, and this is basically a hash graph again, but each block has attached proof of work, which is something that makes it costly to create. Now you can say, yeah, and what about proof of stake? Well, actually, from economic standpoint, proof of stake and proof of work is the same thing, because if you have proof of work, you have to burn some electricity, which is economic resource, in order to provide proof that that you created this thing, and that it was costly to you. In theory, if proof of work, proof of stake, worked, which it doesn't, but anyway, let's just say for the sake of argument that it works, it would require you to lock in some economic resource again that you can't use, for investing in creating the better cars, flying cars, or maybe new factories or whatever. But instead, it's just lying there and doing nothing. So, so even proof of stake is some kind of proof of work. So proof of stake and proof of work, I refer to both as proof of work chain. And again, it's just a hash graph, but then there is also usually a rule that the chain with most accumulated work is considered somehow the best one, or the most valid, the only valid, or whatever. Uh, there are some facts about proof of work chains. There has to be a native token for proof of work chain to work at all. It's absolutely impossible to create a proof of work chain without a native token, because without native token you can't incentivize the miners to actually to spend the resources, because if they were spending resources and they got nothing for it, they would just stop, and the network would halt. So this is absolutely required to have a native token. The fact is that the most secure proof of work chain currently is Bitcoin. You won't find any chain that is burning more resources than Bitcoin. So if it burns the biggest amount of resources, then the biggest amount of resources is required to be spent in order to attack Bitcoin via 51% attacks. And not speaking about the quality of code, which like 90% of currencies maybe, I just made up the number, I mean like like really most other cryptocurrencies either copied the code from Bitcoin Core, or their code is just shit. So that's unfortunately true. There are some cryptocurrencies with pretty decent code quality, but unfortunately they are not the most secure proof of work. And another fact is that you can use Bitcoin for timestamping anything you wish. So if you want to prove to someone that you had some document and you knew about this document, you can create a hash of this document and send it, include it in the transaction you send to Bitcoin network, and it will be stored there forever, and you will have a proof that at this time you knew this chunk of data. Of course, if you don't put your name in the chunk of the data that you hashed, then the proof is that it existed at the time, but it might not be that you was aware of it. But if you also put your name there or some identifier, you can later prove that you were the one having it. But this is minor detail. Basically, you can do this with Bitcoin blockchain. So how you should decide whether to use proof of work chain, hash graph, or no such chain at all. This is a very simple flowchart that should help you. It might be sometimes not really perfect at some edge cases, but it should be pretty good. If your technology needs to be government resistant, which is defend against government's attacks, then the only question you have to ask yourself is if you have double spending problem. Double spending problem is the problem with cryptocurrencies when one could create two conflicting transactions. First saying that he's sending his bitcoins to person A, and the second to person B, and the network would somehow have to resolve which one is the correct one, because if it accepted both, there would be trivial inflation in the system. And the way to solve this double spending problem is via proof of work chain. So if you have this problem, use proof of work chain. If you don't have this problem, why would you burn electricity on this? You know, like you don't have to resolve it. You can use some other technology. If your technology needs to be government resistant, maybe because government likes your technology, or because shutting it down would be unpopular, or whatever, or maybe because you think that the government doesn't give a shit about it, you can you go here and you question whether you need synchronization or auditing. So if you have like central entity, and the central entity is making some claims, and you don't care about whether this central entity will be controlled by the government or not. You only care about whether claims are correct or not. And if they are incorrect, you know that it cheats, and you can, for example, ignore this central entity, or you can you know, damage their reputation, not buying their services, or make it simply destroy itself. And sometimes this is fine. So if you need this property, you can use a hash graph. So if the entity creates two conflicting claims, then the users of this entity can compare their hashes of the tips of the blockchain or hash graph, and verify whether they match. If they don't match, it's clear that they claimed two different things somewhere. So you can use hash graph in this situation, and also for synchronization, which is case of Git, where Git provides also a way to upload only the things that you changed to the server. So you don't have to, when you are synchronizing your work with other programmers, you don't have to like upload or download the whole code base, everything ever, but you only transfer the changes in the data. So it's kind of compression. And also you can verify that the data wasn't somehow damaged in the process of synchronization. If you don't need these things, you don't need any chain and any hashes and these complicated things, because you know these things are complicated and they would make your applications more costly to develop. You would bring it later to the market, or or maybe you would just make the user experience of your users suck. So let's look at some ridiculous ideas of when to use blockchain. So messaging is the first one that is really popular in some groups. Like, yeah, we can create better messaging by using blockchain. Of course, I don't know whether they mean hash graph or whether they mean proof of work chain, but here is the thing that if they want to use hash graph, there is already implementation that uses it. It's called Scuttlebot, and this is a protocol, and they implemented a social network on top of it. The social network is called Patchwork. So this already exists. So maybe nothing to develop here. And like messaging. Okay, so what is so revolutionary about messaging? You send message to someone, he reads it, and so on. The only thing you can improve probably is cryptography to, prevent the messages from being forged or from being read by other entities. So this is one thing. Another ridiculous claim is healthcare. So yeah, we will put medical data to the blockchain, and it raises question like, what, transparent blockchains where everyone can read your medical data? Are you crazy? And if they say it's encrypted, then there is really no additional benefit of putting encrypted data on the blockchain. And again, you could use hash graph and you could use proof of work. Maybe you could use proof of work to prevent someone from backdating their medical data or something similar. Maybe to prevent some insurance fraud or something. But you can use a hash graph, and from time to time you can anchor the tips into Bitcoin blockchain, so they are unchangeable. So that's pretty good security, and you really don't need new blockchain, new magic thing, new token, and so on. And also, I really don't see anything revolutionary here. No, I would like to, when I go to the doctor, to bring my data on some storage device like USB key or something. Maybe somehow give them access to the online version, which is encrypted. But I don't really see any improvement coming from the blockchain. Publishing, another theme. Let's make publishing better, and so on. And there is basically the same thing. You can anchor your data into the blockchain, into the Bitcoin blockchain. You can do all kind of interesting things, but really you don't need a token and some kind of new currency to publish the work you did. It's crazy. It's like, if this was required, we wouldn't have books and education and whatever. So this is really ridiculous claim. And finally, blockchain for governments. That's probably the top of ridiculousness, because blockchain or Bitcoin blockchain, proof of work chain, was created to defend against government. So it can't be proof of work chain because it would be against government. So it's by definition not possible. And a hash graph is nice, but if there was some way to make people stop trusting government and like disobeying government the moment that the hash graph diverges, it would be really revolutionary, but it's not possible because when there was World War II, not all Germans disobeyed the government just because they made some immoral things. So if it didn't work then, I really doubt that somehow people magically start disobeying the government when they see two hashes differ. So it's just really impossible. So this claim is completely false from the beginning to the end. So let's look about at who would make such claims. What is the purpose of making false claims to someone? Of course, the reason to make such claims could be, oh, this confusion, craziness, ignorance, stupidity. If I left something similar, uh, I'm sorry, but the main idea is that it is basically fault in the brain of the person making this claim, in the logic, and he's just confused. And if he is honest, you can really easily convince him that he's confused. If he is dishonest, maybe he's an attacker. So first about the attackers and the other groups, because how do you differentiate between those two? Well, you don't, because you don't care if the end result of making such claims is that you are somehow being harmed. You don't care if someone harmed you because they hate you, or because they want your money, or because they were just confused and make a mistake. So you don't care. Simply, let's just assume they are attackers, because then we can be more careful, with our thinking. And let's look at how this blockchain is nice thing is helping the attackers, because they have to have some. The attackers have to gain something from doing this. So if someone's saying blockchain is nice, and he's purposefully attacking you, how he does it? And the thing is that he's basically selling scam, blockchain of things. Usually you can find it combined with Internet of Things, also called Internet of Insecurity or whatever. You can see cloud here. This is actual image that is somewhere on the internet, so this is not something I created. And it really shows how crazy it is. It looks like a cloud with blockchain of things, and they just forgot AI. So really sloppy job if they forgot AI. So, and basically they are selling you scam. They are selling you something that doesn't work. And the thing is that when someone will tell you that this will revolutionize the world, and you believe him, then you are more willing to put your money into that thing, and you would put more money if the more you believe it. So they can extract a lot of money from you by doing that, and they can make something. They could clone the Git repository and give you Git code, and it would be blockchain in theory, but it's something you can do, and for free. So really it is cheap for them, and gives them a lot of your money, and will not solve any of your problems. So basically this is a scam. And who would say Bitcoin is useless? Now again, this phrase is here twice intentionally, because if someone is spending $85,000 every 10 minutes on to defend against something, then we have these three groups: attackers, defenders, and neutrals. Now we could argue whether neutrals in practice exist, but in theory, let's pretend there exists some guy who absolutely doesn't care if government is attacking someone or isn't, and absolutely doesn't care if someone else defends. So any action he does is neutral. And in this scenario, they have no reason to say that blockchain is useless, because if they said it, they are helping the attacker. So it defeats the idea of being neutrals. So neutrals don't say such things, never. Defenders are biased towards defending themselves from government with using Bitcoin, and so defenders are they want to defend. And now let's think about how it would help me to convince someone else to not use Bitcoin and use it myself. uh, when the more people use Bitcoin, the more stable it is, the more valuable it is, the more costly it is to mine, and the more secure it is, and the more miners are there. It doesn't make sense. The defenders will never ever make such claim that Bitcoin is useless, because uh, it would go against their goals. So defenders don't say such things. So we are left with attackers because someone somewhere said it. So conclusion is that they are the attackers. So they are attacking you if they say that Bitcoin is useless, and they want you to stop using it, because by using it you are giving you are taking the power back to yourself that they took from you. So the conclusion, reality is the opposite. Bitcoin is great, blockchain is not that great. In someone, if someone says it the other way around, he's attacking you. So don't trust them. And you can say, yeah, maybe you can say that you are a hardcore Bitcoiner. You would never ever stop using Bitcoin, and you will never ever believe such things. But stay vigilant, because there were some people who look like hardcore Bitcoiners, and you would really say that, yeah, they're hardcore Bitcoiners and anti-government and whatever, but they are so uh, attached to the idea that everything has to have blockchain and everything has to be in the blockchain and so on, that they deny the viability of off-chain solutions that are in practice really good, sound and working. Uh, and the solution is Lightning Network. I literally saw people claiming like, oh, it's Lightning Network, it's off-chain, and Satoshi created the blockchain to revolutionize all the things, and so on and so on. So obviously they got confused themselves. So don't think that if you are hardcore Bitcoiner, no attacker ever will achieve to confuse you, because obviously some attackers achieved confusing these hardcore Bitcoiners to don't believe in Lightning Network, which is also kind of ridiculous, because the Lightning Network runs on a smart contract which uses hashes and public and digital signatures, which are the same things that Bitcoin runs on. And the smart contract is really easy to understand and evaluate that yes, it works. So if it obviously works, and someone is saying that this doesn't work and this claim is false, that it means that they not only not understand the smart contract, but if they don't understand the smart contract, they can't understand the Bitcoin network, because it consists only of those exact things that the smart contract consists of. So if you don't understand one, you can't possibly understand another, and vice versa. So it's really impossible for those people to understand the Bitcoin network itself. So yeah, there are attackers, there are victims among them, so hard to tell which one is which, but I think they are victims to this same narrative that, yeah, blockchain is great and Bitcoin is not so great. Especially when you think that they created their own currency to, like compete with Lightning Network, which is really like stopping to use Bitcoin. So it was basically successful attack. So that's all. Here's some of my contacts, my fingerprint. Please make a photo or write it somewhere, so you know that it really belongs to me. You saw it here. Maybe I should check whether Parallel Police is attacking me by changing the slide, but I hope they don't. So if some of you are afraid of this possibility, then hit me after the talk, and I will give you the fingerprint myself. And also, if you are interested in Parallel Police in Bratislava or something similar, please hit me after the talk, and we will talk. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Martin. Before I pass the word over to you, I would like to ask one question. Recently, there is a Slovak politician who seems to be very enthusiastic about blockchain, and she's talking how many use cases it has in future. And there is also a group of people around crypto community in Slovakia. They are concentrated around the organization Blockchain Slovakia, and their argument is that if we persuade politicians that it's positive technology and that they can have real positive use cases of however we call it blockchain or technically more correct. Their argument is that then politicians will create more friendly legislation, so the environment will be more liberal and so on. So, what do you think about this, and what would you advise?
Okay. So first about this politician you mentioned. Actually, I said that some people say that blockchain is young technology, and I specifically quoted her because I saw her saw a tweet about this today. So this is one funny thing. So yeah, it's really small. And the other thing is that again, it's hard to say that the blockchain Slovakia, whether it is full of attackers or not. Maybe we should just for the sake of trying to be safe, assume they are attackers and somehow attacking us. And I never thought about it this way, but I really should. It's a great point, but some folks there seem to be genuine, so hopefully all of them are attackers, but they are actually helping government to attack us, and that is by creating some perception of the other people who are not involved in this will look like, yeah, here government communicates with these experts, so the end solution must be good and correct. And this is actually not the case, and there are two problems with it. First, the government doesn't have to listen to them, and the second problem is that the blockchain Slovakia doesn't publish their intentions and whatever. They are quite secretive about it, so we really don't know what they are even trying to do, and there is nobody can look at this and say, yeah, this is bullshit because experts say this and government did complete opposite. Another problematic thing is that government actually likes blockchain as a buzzword or maybe hash graph, and they like it because they can like order, hey, here's this company, or please make us some blockchain solution, and we will pay you 100 millions of euros or whatever, and this company will create this solution, which, as I demonstrated, will be complete crap, but people will see that, hey, government invested huge money into revolutionary technology, so it must be good, and they will see, like, yes, if this is so revolutionary, then the amount is justified, and since very few people understand this technology, that it's very difficult to say to others that, yeah, this is all crap. So actually, blockchain technology as a buzzword is very useful for governments because they can corrupt, and the company that received 100 millions will maybe send 50 millions to the guy who managed it. So it's really very beneficial for them, the buzzword, but of course the proof of work chain is anti-beneficial for them. So.
Mm-hmm. So now your turn. Who's got some question? Please raise your hand.
By the way, how much time do we have, by the way?
We got like 5 minutes and
Okay,
place
thank you.
like a couple of short questions, or is there some? You still have a minute, but after this talk, Allo Pfefferling, I hope I tell it correctly, has presentation about use case of Horizon and Zen Chat, which maybe will show a little bit different opinion about messaging on blockchain and using cryptocurrencies technology to send messages securely. So we will see. And now I give you last chance to raise question. If not, then you can reach Martin later. Is there some? Here.
So I have a question. You were saying that if someone is saying something else that you don't agree with, it means that someone is attacking you. So I have a question. If I say that Bitcoin and blockchain are both good, am I actually attacking you?
You are attacking me by saying the blockchain is good, but you know, like the phrase itself is taken out of the context. It would you would have to say like, yeah, blockchain can be useful for these 100 other things, and those 100 other things would actually be really like no, they would have to not benefit from the blockchain itself to in order for this to be attacked, because if you are trying to convince me of something that is false, and the result is that you will somehow gain money from doing this, then it's basically an attack. And again, as I said, don't take it personally. Maybe you are just confused. And of course, I believe this is a really rhetorical question, or maybe theoretical question. So.
Yeah, I would say it was a more rhetorical question, but I'm asking because from my point of view, blockchain can be used for many good things and many good purposes. And we're still in the early days, so we haven't discovered all the purposes that we can use blockchain for. And that's definitely, like, all of us can agree, we can agree that Bitcoin is just one of them, and Bitcoin is actually one of the most useful application that has been built with using blockchain. And from my point of view, like, blockchain can be used for other purposes as well. But I don't, I kind of like, I just want to say like my opinion that I personally disagree that blockchain is not nice. I think it is nice technology, and it can be used for many purposes.
My talk was also kind of, you know, how it's called. It was exaggerated somewhat in order to, you know, like.
Understood. No problem.
Point at this craziness that is going around here. Yeah, there are probably some things that blockchain can be used for. As I said, Git. You know, if you consider it blockchain, then yes, Git is a good thing. Namecoins seem to be great thing, but they have some other issues. So it's kind of I like Namecoin, but at the same time I see the problems with it. So sure, I would like to have decentralized DNS system and secure, but I'm not sure if it will you know take off. And also, as I said, the attack is only if what you are saying is actually false. And maybe I will add my personal story when I first like really understood how Bitcoin works and these things and the scripting and whatever. I was like high or whatever. I saw this. Yeah, there is huge potential. But over time, as I understood even more and more and more, I was like, oh yeah, but this doesn't actually work in the reality. Like, it looks nice at the first sight, but it doesn't really work in reality because people don't give a shit about many things, and because economics and some other things. And maybe if all those crazy people who say and create total crap, if they focused their work on something really useful, maybe there would be something.
I think there will be.
So thank you very much for coming, and now there is a short break, and we continue at 5 p.m. exactly. Thank you.
Thank you.